You keep making the same promises to yourself every year. This time will be different, you say. This time you will stick to it. But weeks pass, maybe months, and slowly you find yourself back where you started, wondering what is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. What is wrong is how you were taught to think about change. Right now, there is a mental pattern running in the background of your mind that decides whether you will succeed or stay stuck. Most people never discover this pattern. They blame their lack of willpower, their busy schedules, their bad luck. But the real issue lives deeper. It lives in the way you see yourself when things get hard. This invisible belief system controls everything. How you respond to mistakes, how you handle criticism, whether you even try at all. And unless you understand how to shift it, 2026 will look a lot like 2025. What if I told you that the difference between people who transform their lives and people who stay trapped in the same cycles has almost nothing to do with talent or effort? Carol Dweck, a psychologist at Stanford University, spent years studying why some people grow while others give up. She discovered something that changed how we understand human potential. She found that people operate from two completely different belief systems about themselves. Some believe their abilities are carved in stone, permanent, and unchangeable. Others believe they can develop new skills, no matter where they start. She called these the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. The fixed mindset whispers that you either have it or you don't. That trying and failing proves you were never meant for it. That struggling means you are weak. This mindset makes you avoid challenges because failure feels like a personal verdict. The growth mindset operates differently. It says your current abilities are just a starting point. That effort is not shameful, but necessary. That mistakes are information, not identity. When you understand which mindset is running your life, you suddenly see why certain patterns keep repeating. Think about the words you use when you talk about yourself. Do you say things like, "I am not a morning person," or "I have never been good with money," or "I just cannot focus"? These statements sound like simple descriptions, but they are actually doing something dangerous. They are turning temporary situations into permanent identities. Every time you say, "I am not good at this," you are telling your brain that this limitation is who you are, not just what you currently experience. And when your brain accepts something as part of your identity, it stops searching for ways to change it. You learn to live with it. You adapt to staying small. Psychologist Albert Bandura studied how beliefs about ourselves shape our behavior. He found that when people believe they cannot do something, they do not just try less hard. They literally stop seeing opportunities to improve. Their brain filters out information that could help them grow. The labels you give yourself become the prison you live in. So the question becomes, how many opportunities have you missed because you labeled yourself as not that kind of person? The shift begins with a single word: yet. When you add yet to your limitations, something remarkable happens. Instead of saying, "I cannot do this," you say, "I cannot do this yet." It sounds small, almost too simple to matter. But this tiny addition completely changes the meaning. "I cannot do this" is a closed door. "I cannot do this yet" is a door that has not opened, but will. The word yet transforms your relationship with time and possibility. It moves you from a fixed state to a process, from destination to development. When you start using yet, you give your brain permission to learn. You acknowledge that where you are right now is not where you will always be. This creates what psychologists call an expansion mindset, a mental state where growth feels possible instead of impossible. Your brain starts searching for paths forward instead of reasons why you cannot move. It shifts from defending your current identity to exploring your future potential. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe and turn on bell notification. This helps spread the knowledge to others. Try this simple exercise starting today. Notice 3 limiting beliefs you carry about yourself. Maybe you think you are not creative, or you are terrible at remembering names, or you cannot speak in front of groups. Write these down honestly. Then rewrite each one with yet added. I am not creative yet. I have not learned techniques for remembering names yet. I have not developed my public speaking skills yet. Say these new versions out loud. Repeat them daily. At first, it might feel forced or fake. That is normal. You are interrupting a pattern that has been running for years, maybe decades. But as you keep using it, your brain starts to respond differently. It begins looking for evidence that you can grow. It notices small improvements. It stays open instead of shutting down. This is not positive thinking or affirmations. This is cognitive restructuring, changing the lens through which you see your own potential. The language you use with yourself literally rewires how your brain processes possibility. But what happens when you try and still fail? Failure is where most people abandon the growth mindset. You start something new, you put in effort, you expose yourself to the risk of not being good at it, and then you fail. The results do not come. The habit does not stick. The project falls apart. In that moment, a voice inside starts whispering, "See, you knew you could not do it. Maybe you were not meant for this." This voice is the fixed mindset reasserting control. It wants to turn that single failure into proof of your permanent inadequacy. It wants you to believe that the failure revealed who you really are. But Dweck's research shows this is completely backwards. Failure does not reveal who you are. It reveals what is not working yet. When you fail at something, you have not discovered your limits. You have discovered your current approach has gaps. Maybe you need more information. Maybe you need a different strategy. Maybe you need to adjust your environment or your timeline. The failure is feedback, not a final judgment on your worth. Understanding this difference changes everything about how you move forward. Consider two people trying to build a morning exercise habit. Both fail in the first week. Both sleep through their alarms, skip workouts, lose motivation. Person A thinks, "I knew I could not stick to it. I have no discipline. I am just not that kind of person." This person stops trying. The failure confirms what they already believed about themselves. Person B thinks, "This approach did not work. What was missing? Maybe I am going to bed too late. Maybe I need to prepare my workout clothes the night before. Maybe I need to start with just 5 minutes instead of 30. Person B adjusts and tries again. Same failure, completely different interpretation. One sees identity, the other sees information. One closes the door, the other opens a window. Psychologist Martin Seligman studied what he called explanatory style, the way people explain setbacks to themselves. He found that people who explain failures as temporary and specific grow more than people who see failures as permanent and global. When you make failure mean something specific and changeable, you can work with it. When you make it mean everything about you, you shut down. Your explanatory style becomes your destiny. So what should you do when you fail in 2026? First, pause. Notice the voice that wants to make the failure mean you are inadequate. Recognize it as the fixed mindset speaking. Do not fight it or deny it. Just observe it without letting it control your next move. Then ask yourself 3 questions. What specifically did not work? What is one thing I could adjust? What did I learn that I can use next time? These questions shift you from judgment to analysis. They turn the failure into a teacher instead of an enemy. You are not ignoring the pain of failing. You are refusing to let that pain define your identity. Each failure becomes a data point in your growth process rather than a verdict on your potential. This approach does not make failure feel good, but it makes it useful. And useful failures move you forward while shameful failures keep you stuck. But knowing how to handle failure is only half the equation. The other half is learning to stay in discomfort long enough to actually grow. Here is something nobody tells you about growth. It is supposed to feel uncomfortable. When you are learning something new, when you are stretching beyond what you already know, you should feel awkward and unsure. This discomfort is not a sign you are in the wrong place. It is a sign you are in exactly the right place. But most people misinterpret discomfort as a warning signal. They think, if this were meant for me, it would feel easier. If I were really good at this, I would not struggle so much. So they retreat back to what feels comfortable. And in comfort, they stay the same. Psychologist Anders Ericsson studied how people develop expertise in any field. He found that improvement happens almost entirely in what he called the zone of proximal development, the space just beyond your current ability. If something is too easy, you are not learning. If something is impossibly hard, you shut down. Growth happens in that uncomfortable middle zone where you are challenged but not overwhelmed. Most people never find this zone because they quit as soon as discomfort appears. The problem is that discomfort triggers your brain's threat detection system. When you feel incompetent or vulnerable, ancient parts of your brain interpret this as danger. They want you to retreat to safety. This made sense when our ancestors faced physical threats. But in modern life, this same system stops you from learning new skills because learning requires temporary incompetence. You have to be willing to be bad at something before you can be good at it. Most people are not willing to feel bad at something, so they never get good at anything new. They spend their whole lives perfecting what they already know, instead of expanding into what they could become. They become experts at staying comfortable while their potential remains unexplored. What if you deliberately chose discomfort in 2026? Pick one skill you have been avoiding because it makes you feel incompetent. Maybe it is public speaking, or coding, or drawing, or leading meetings, or having difficult conversations. Choose something that actually matters to you but scares you. Then commit to staying in the discomfort of learning it for the next 3 months. Not to become perfect, but to practice being uncomfortable. Notice when you want to quit. Notice when embarrassment rises. Notice when you compare yourself to others and feel inadequate. These moments are not signs to stop. They are signs you are growing. Your brain is building new neural pathways. Your skill level is genuinely improving, even if you cannot see it yet. Neuroscientist Lara Boyd studies neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change throughout life. She found that every time you struggle with something difficult, your brain physically changes. New connections form, existing connections strengthen. But this only happens if you stay in the discomfort long enough for the changes to take root. The discomfort you feel is actually the sensation of your brain rewiring itself. As you practice staying uncomfortable, you will face another obstacle. Other people will notice you are trying something new, and some of them will criticize you. They will point out your mistakes. They will question your choices. They might even mock your efforts. This criticism can stop you faster than your own discomfort. Because now you are not just dealing with internal doubt, you are dealing with external judgment. How you respond to criticism will determine how far you grow in 2026. The fixed mindset hears criticism as an attack on your worth. It activates all your defenses. You want to argue, justify, shut down, or prove them wrong. The criticism feels personal because you see your skills as part of your identity. An attack on your work feels like an attack on yourself. The growth mindset responds differently. It recognizes that criticism, even harsh or poorly delivered criticism, often contains useful information. The person giving it might be wrong about you. They might be unkind or unfair. But buried in their feedback might be something valuable that can help you improve. The question is whether you can separate the useful from the useless without letting either destroy you. Psychologist John Gottman studied how people respond to feedback in relationships and found a pattern. Defensive reactions kill growth, while curious reactions create it. When someone criticizes you, your first impulse will be defensive. That is human. But you can train yourself to pause before reacting. Take a breath. Let the initial sting pass. Then ask yourself, is there even a small piece of truth here that I can use? Not agreeing with everything they said, just looking for what might be useful. This takes practice. It requires emotional maturity. But it transforms criticism from something that crushes you into something that builds you. When someone points out a weakness in your presentation, you can either think, they are saying I am incompetent, or they are showing me where I can improve. Same criticism, different interpretation. One stops you, the other moves you forward. Here is a practical approach. When you receive criticism, do not respond immediately. Thank the person for the feedback, even if it stings. This does not mean you agree with them. It means you are mature enough to not react defensively. Later, when you are calmer, extract one specific action you can take from their feedback. Just one thing you could adjust or try differently. Turn the criticism into a next step. This moves you from feeling attacked to taking action. And action is where growth lives. Most people never learn this. They spend their whole lives either avoiding criticism by staying small or defending against it by rejecting all feedback. Both approaches keep you stuck. Learning to extract value from criticism while not letting it define you, that is the skill that separates people who stagnate from people who evolve. You become someone who can take input from anywhere and use it to improve, regardless of how it was delivered. But even as you handle failure better, embrace discomfort more, and use criticism wisely, there is one more trap that catches almost everyone: the perfectionism trap. This is the belief that progress only counts if it is massive and visible, that small improvements do not matter, that if you are not making dramatic changes, you are not really changing at all. This mindset kills more transformations than anything else, because real growth is almost never dramatic in the moment. It accumulates slowly, invisibly, until one day you look back and realize you are completely different. But if you are only looking for big wins, you miss all the small victories that actually create transformation. You dismiss the daily choices that are actually building the person you want to become. And in dismissing them, you stop making them. BJ Fogg, a behavioral scientist at Stanford, studied how habits form. He discovered that tiny changes, when repeated consistently, create more lasting transformation than big dramatic efforts. A person who exercises for 5 minutes every day for a year changes more than someone who goes to the gym for 2 hours once a month. But the 5-minute person will not feel impressive most days. They might even feel like they are not doing enough. This is where most people quit. They cannot see the results yet, so they assume nothing is happening. They devalue their effort because it does not look like the transformation they imagined. And in devaluing their progress, they stop progressing. The person making small daily improvements feels like they are failing while they are actually winning. The person making sporadic dramatic efforts feels like they are succeeding while they are actually stuck. What if you trained yourself to recognize progress differently? What if you celebrated the effort, not just the outcome? What if showing up mattered as much as the result? Start a weekly practice of recording your wins. Every Sunday, write down 3 things you did that week that represent growth. But here is the important part. At least one of those wins must be about effort or courage, not results. Valid wins include things like, I started the project I have been avoiding, or I asked for help instead of pretending I knew everything, or I tried something new even though I felt scared, or I kept going even when I did not. See results. These are real victories. They represent the internal shifts that eventually create external changes. When you start celebrating these kinds of wins, your brain begins to associate good feelings with the process, not just the destination. You stop needing massive results to feel like you are making progress. You start fueling yourself from daily action rather than distant achievements. Psychologist Teresa Amabile studied what motivates people over long periods. She found that recognizing small wins creates more sustained motivation than chasing big achievements. People who feel progress, even tiny progress, stay engaged longer. People who only count major milestones burn out or give up. The emotional reward from small wins keeps you moving when results are not yet visible. So the question becomes, can you learn to feel good about getting 1% better? Can you value consistency over intensity? Can you appreciate the unsexy, unglamorous daily work of becoming someone new? Because that is where transformation actually lives. Not in the dramatic moments, but in the quiet accumulation of better choices. What will you celebrate this week that you would have ignored before? Everything we have discussed, using yet to open possibilities, reframing failure as information, staying in discomfort, learning from criticism, celebrating small progress, all of this builds toward one central shift. You must stop seeing yourself as a finished product and start seeing yourself as a work in progress. The fixed mindset believes you are discovering who you are. The growth mindset believes you are creating who you are becoming. This difference is everything. When you see yourself as finished, change feels threatening because it suggests you were inadequate before. When you see yourself as in progress, change feels natural because you were always meant to evolve. You are not broken when you grow. You are not admitting defeat when you try something new. You are simply continuing the process of becoming. Your identity is not something you protect, It is something you build. So what does this mean for 2026? It means your year does not start on January 1st. It starts the moment you decide to operate from a growth mindset. It starts when you catch yourself saying, "I cannot do this," and add the word, "yet." It starts when you fail at something and ask what you learned instead of what is wrong with you. It starts when you choose discomfort over comfort because you value growth more than ease. It starts when you hear criticism and look for the lesson instead of the attack. It starts when you celebrate trying, not just succeeding. These are not actions you wait to take when you feel ready. These are the actions that make you ready. Every time you act from a growth mindset, you strengthen that mental pathway. Every time you revert to fixed thinking, you reinforce old patterns. The choice is yours, moment by moment, day by day. Your brain is not fixed. Your personality is not permanent. Your skills can develop. Your habits can change. But only if you believe they can. And only if you act from that belief daily, even when it feels hard, even when you do not see results yet, even when other people doubt you. The most powerful thing you can do before 2026 begins is decide that who you are today is not who you will be tomorrow. Not because you are inadequate now, but because you are capable of more. Not because you should be ashamed of where you are, but because you can be excited about where you are going. This shift in how you see yourself changes how you show up, how you respond to challenges, how you interpret your experiences. It changes everything. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share your thoughts in the comment. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe.